that time of the week again, Two for Two fans. We got another episode of the Two for Two podcast, the sports podcast that covers all the latest news and analysis of the NBA and the NFL. I'm your host, Quis, and I'm here with my co-host, Nelly Nell. Nell, you
Yeah.
feeling today? There you go, there you go. So this week on the pod, we're gonna move right along our NFL divisional series, our breakdown series, and we're gonna move on to the NFC North as well as the NFC West. We're going to also touch on a few things that went on this week in the sports world. And yeah, Nell, you ready? How you feeling, man?
Yeah, I'm ready, man. Feeling good, man. Excited. Ready to go.
Feeling
Episode
good?
2, baby.
Okay, episode 2. You see my boy IUP in the back, Nell.
Shout
You know,
out.
shout out
Shout out
to
to
the
them Hawks.
okay. If you know,
984.
hey,
Walty.
if you know, you know. All right, so we're gonna jump right into it now. NFC North, NFC West. Big running back moves and the week 1 of the preseason. How do you feel now? We just talked about Ezekiel Elliott leaving your Cowboys. Last week, we didn't know where he was going. Ezekiel Elliott has landed a 1-year deal with the New England Patriots.
Yeah,
Now,
you see my boy got the fresh cut. Like, looking like Ohio State Zeke. Like he can run for 1100 right now. But in all seriousness, I was just happy to see him get signed. Like I thought it was kind of crazy. Like obviously I knew he had a big, dip off in production and definitely wasn't the same player he was when he first came into the league. But, I didn't think he was somebody that shouldn't be in the NFL. That was kind of
right, yeah,
crazy to me. But I'm glad he found his way on the team. It's not like a seismic change for the Patriots. It's not gonna, help them win the AFC. But, at the end of the day, Zeke still had 12 rushing touchdowns last year. He's still a good goal line back. Like if you need 3-4 yards, like he can get that for you. Pass blocking, he's always been good at that, and he's always been a great teammate, locker room guy. So definitely a nice move for the Patriots.
yeah. I agree. I think it makes a lot of sense. It's Zeke is a guy that still can produce. You just said he gave you 12 touchdowns last year. He's still a veteran. He knows what he knows what he's doing, and he's earned his stripes in the league. So I think he definitely deserved to be on a team, and he landed in a situation I think is perfect for him. The Patriots won't need him to be, the Zeke that everybody fell in love with. They won't need him to produce a 1,000-yard rushing season, but if they can run him alongside Ramondre Stevenson in that backfield, I think that helps Mac Jones and that Patriots offense out a lot this year, actually.
Yeah, especially it'll help them down in red zone goal line situations. Like I said, he's still good at the 4th and 1, 3 and 1, short yard runs, and he's looking for contact. He just doesn't have that burst anymore to get
Right.
10, 15, 20-yard runs.
Yeah, so I think I think it's a situation where we could see Ramondre Stevenson being this year's Tony Pollard in a sense, where he really breaks out due to having a guy like Zeke next to him in the backfield. I know Bill Belichick will enjoy using them. So the New England Patriots make a move, right? And then the New York Jets, of course, have to make a subsequent move. Dalvin Cook also signed on the same day to a 1-year deal with the New York Jets. Now, how you feel about that one?
Yes, that's a nice move. They already got, pretty solid running back core. Michael Carter had a solid year with them last year, but you bring in a guy like Dalvin Cook, proven, still definitely got some miles left on him. I mean, he didn't fall off the map in Minnesota, so Minnesota wanted to go young. But I think Dalvin Cook still got some juice left in him, and pair him with somebody like Aaron Rodgers, like still in the pass game, short yard situations, catching passes out the flat. He can still do stuff like that, even if he's not as explosive as a runner. But he still looked good running the ball inside and out last year. So it's a good move for the Jets.
Yeah, I mean that's it's a classic. I'll see yours and do you one better. I think the Jets had that move lined up for a while. I think they were waiting to see the first domino fall in the running back market. And I mean, I think you get a guy when I see Dalvin Cook. I think about explosiveness. He still has that home run ability. He still has that one cut and I'm out of there.
Seen it against the Colts in that huge 33
Yeah,
point comeback.
exactly. And that's another dimension. You mentioned Aaron Rodgers. that's another guy to already pair with Brees Hall, who had a great season last year. I think that makes the Jets even scarier. I mean, it doesn't hurt. It never hurts to add a guy like Dalvin Cook, especially if you can get him this late on a 1-year deal. I mean, the Jets are going for a Super Bowl, and this is another Super Bowl move. It looks a lot like a team that I follow a couple years ago. You get the vet, then they bring more guys along with them. They take a couple, pay cuts or whatever for them. So we'll see if it turns out, if it turns out in the same way as the Tom Brady and the Bucks did with a Super Bowl for the Jets. But Dalvin Cook, definitely, that's a big, big move. Ezekiel Elliott, also a big move, and that's a lot going on for what's been a relatively quiet last couple months, or the last month or so, I would say, when it comes to free agent signings. So now moving forward from that, we've seen a week of preseason football. You've seen a week of the Cowboys. Deuce Vaughn looked great. Y'all play. I mean, I say an all right game from what I noticed. But how do you feel, Nell? How do you feel about Dallas's week 1 showing?
I don't really feel anything. It's week 1 of preseason.
Mhm.
Not a lot of guys out there. You know, defense looked okay. Got interception off of Jacksonville in the first quarter.
Mhm.
Deuce Vaughn, is definitely somebody that people have been praising. Even though he was a really late round pick, guys think that he can come in and contribute early. Couple plays looking real shifty, making guys miss. So, hopefully he can help the team out. We're definitely going to need it. Not a lot of backs on the roster that you're looking to
I mean,
produce.
you
So
got,
he's
you got
definitely
Ronald Jones, man.
we'll see. He's gonna have his opportunity. So not really thinking much of it. Another preseason game.
Yeah, okay. So I mean, it's important to not, just some people get really, really high up when it comes to preseason. I think last year, uh I think there was a team that went undefeated in the preseason, and then they won like 3 games, you know what I'm saying? So
Always
it,
happens.
yeah, it always happens. So it's never, especially not week 1 when you guys not playing. On the flip side, my Buccaneers, we actually had something to play for this preseason. Speaking of fans getting high on their horse, Baker Mayfield looked amazing. I'm gonna just say how it is. He looked amazing. I think he was 7 for 8, 72 yards in the tud. Uh, Playing mostly with the twos. Like Nell said, it's nothing to get too crazy about. However, you know, when you get a first look at somebody and they put up a pretty decent stat line, it gives you a little something to be excited about. Looking at the quarterback battle that the Buccaneers have going on between Baker and Kyle Trask, I'll give you all an update from my perspective. It seems more like it's Baker's job to lose now, as opposed to Kyle Trask is really gaining on him. I think the preseason game helped him, but it'll come down to the wire. I won't even go too far in depth, but just a little update on that. I'm not going to get my Baker jersey yet, but this was definitely a step in the right direction for that. So you already touched on it a little bit. Now, after week 1 of the preseason, does your outlook and overall energy on the season increase? How much do you invest into the NFL preseason as a whole?
Absolutely zero. It makes me go, God damn, we got 3 more weeks of this crap. Like that's what it makes me do. I haven't taken preseason football seriously since I was probably like 15 years old. Um, like you said, unless it's like in your case, you're watching a QB battle, you're trying to see if what the
Yeah,
team's going to look like this year because it's a totally different roster and things like that. But I think for certain teams, especially teams that you expect to be in the playoffs, they're not playing starters, and there's not much to look forward to. There's rookies, of course, seeing what the future holds, guys getting reps and looking at that, but I'm ready to see the real thing at that
yeah,
point.
yeah. I fully understand. You touched on something. You said rookies. We had a lot of rookie quarterback debuts. Were there any that you were impressed by in the preseason, or any other rookie standouts that you might have noticed?
No, because I paid zero attention to it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well, I'll give a brief update. Actually, that came through just today. Anthony Richardson has won the Indianapolis Colts quarterback job after 1 week of preseason. The first rookie quarterback, I guess that we can say has officially cemented his spot. Any thoughts on that for the Colts? Do you think that is that a surprise to you at all? Did you think Gardner Minshew had a chance, or
Not really. I don't think it's a surprise. I mean, when you draft a guy that high, and there's really nothing else on that roster. Like you said, the options were Gardner Minshew. Like, what do you gain from starting him this
yeah,
season?
right,
I mean, unless he just looked so Richardson looked so bad that you felt like you couldn't put him out on the field.
yeah.
I mean, if he's showing that potential in practice, I mean, it's no reason to not start him and see what you got in him.
Yeah, and I'm right with you on that. I think it was penciled in that Richardson was going to probably win this job, just like Stroud will win his job, and Bryce will win his job as well. It's not really nobody's worried about these guys not winning the job. It'll be like you said. It'll be a lot more interesting to watch them when the real thing happens. How do these guys look against number ones with number ones and no pressure to succeed? Um, Overall, I think the rookie guys looked all right. CJ Stroud, he had an interception in his game. Didn't look great, but one thing we did see was that he was eager to go back out there. He wanted to play some more. He wanted to correct his mistakes. That's something great for a young quarterback to have. Think about Bryce Young. He looked all right. He made some plays as well. Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans had a little quarterback battle going on. I don't know how he's looking right now, but that'll be definitely something for us to monitor moving forward as the season approaches and as the season starts. But so far, we got one rookie quarterback. Anthony Richardson has won his job. So we'll go ahead and see how that turns out for them. So moving on
Excited.
to the meat of today's conversation. We're gonna look at the NFC West and the NFC North, and we're gonna start off. We're gonna do it kind of like we did last week. Nell, looking at the NFC West, you got the division that's run by the San Francisco 49ers. Is it 49ers versus the field, or what do you think?
I mean, yes, I'll say that in terms of, I guess, Super Bowl aspirations, but I wouldn't sleep on Seattle too much. They made a lot of nice moves in the offseason. And if Geno can replicate some of that magic that had him win comeback player of the year, they could be a tough out for the 49ers in terms of, winning that division. But definitely 49ers got Super Bowl here. A lot of things up in the air with Brock Purdy coming off that injury last season. And, just as, Mr. Irrelevant, can he replicate that magic as well? So I think it's up in the air for that division because you got two quarterbacks on two best teams that, you're hoping that they can come in and play just as well, if not better, than the season prior. But the 49ers still just all around Brock Purdy just loaded. I mean, defensive player of the year. They had the best defense in the league last year, added Javon Hargrave. So many weapons, Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, McCaffrey, for a full
Yeah,
season coming in. So, and, Shanahan's always been able to get the most out of his quarterback. So, as long as he can do that and, hasn't been a reason to, say he can't this year, as long as Brock Purdy is healthy, they should be in that mix for sure.
yeah. So you keep saying Brock Purdy. Are you
Yeah.
are you going with Brock Purdy to? I know it's not much of a quarterback battle. They got Brock Purdy, they got Trey Lance, who they just drafted, and they picked up Sam Darnold, another vet that hasn't quite hit his potential, but for whatever reason, we seem to believe there's a ton still there, despite what we see on the field. So, are you naming Brock Purdy the starter? And if you were Kyle Shanahan, who would you start?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much going to be Brock Purdy if he's healthy enough to start week one.
Yeah,
If not, not sure. I guess, that's, for preseason and practice to, see how that plays out. But, I think if Brock Purdy is healthy, I think and he's ready to go week one, I think that's who Kyle Shanahan will go with.
yeah.
Whether
No, go ahead.
he can, do what he did last year, winning his first 7 starts, including 2 playoff games, and then getting hurt in the NFC Championship, still up in the air to see what kind of player he really is. But,
Yeah.
if he can improve on what he did last year in that small sample, this 49ers team will definitely be dangerous.
Yeah, they have unlimited weapons. You touched on it. Like they have guys on both sides of the ball that are playmakers. And I think I put down that it's Brock Purdy's job until he loses. I mean, he didn't do anything to show that he doesn't deserve that job. We've seen both of the other guys do things to lose jobs. Trey Lance has a ton of potential, but he's been injured and we haven't really seen much when he's played. So it would be, I think it would be really unwise for Shanahan to go any other direction. I don't think that with the weapons that you just named, I don't think you can really go wrong with any of those guys. Just put the ball in those guys' hands. We've seen how Shanahan schemes offenses to where it looks like it's like, how is somebody open every single play, making the quarterback's job really, really easy. But I agree with you on Brock Purdy. I agree with you that it's got to be 49ers versus the field. I think that the NFC West does have some teams that can make a little noise, or a team rather, like you said, the Seahawks have gotten a lot better, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. But as far as I'm concerned, right now, I think the NFC West has to belong to the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm looking forward to that matchup when they get back to the Eagles, if they get there, and if that matchup
Yeah,
happens. Because
yeah.
they've been
Hopefully,
talking about it enough. They've been talking about it enough, so I'm
hopefully we don't
hoping.
get to the fourth string quarterback that game.
Yeah,
It
that.
should be a fun one.
Yes, sir. It will be definitely a good one. It'll be a good season. So we're gonna look at X factors. Let's go ahead. We're on the 49ers already. Give me an X factor for this year's 49ers team.
All right, I'm gonna go Brock Purdy. I mean, we just talked about him for 5 minutes, but if he can play as well as he did last year with all the weapons that they got in that defense, there's no reason that they shouldn't be right back in the NFC Championship and a chance to win a Super Bowl this year. If they've got everything around them, they've got the defense, they've got playmakers, offensive line. So as long as their quarterback can bring some play in, which there's still a lot of question marks there, but if their quarterback is playing at a high level, sky's the limit for that team.
Yeah, I like that. I had a feeling that you would go that direction. I'm gonna go with one of the big weapons that we talked about. Ironically enough, Christian McCaffrey. I think we talked about how important the running back position is until it's time for payday. I think Christian McCaffrey is one of those guys that he's just an all-out weapon, and I mean, he had that team within a chance of that NFC Championship game with the fourth string quarterback. And I think Christian McCaffrey is the X factor because it doesn't matter who you put out there, quarterback, as long as you have him on the field, as long as he's healthy and performing, he changes the game for you. He's dynamic still. I think that he fits perfectly within this offensive scheme. And I think along with the other guys that they have, if they get a great season out of him, another all-pro level season out of Christian McCaffrey, like you said, we'll see them right back in the thick of things again. And they got to be one of the favorites to come out of the NFC and to win a Super Bowl. I think they're one of our biggest threats to the Chiefs over there in the AFC. I think they're one of the top 3 teams in the NFL. So they get a great season out of Christian McCaffrey, along with everything else that they got. I think it's going to be really hard to beat them, and it's going to be hard for to not see them make it to the Super Bowl. Moving on from a team that's great to maybe not so great. What about the Arizona Cardinals? Who do you have as the X factor for the Arizona Cardinals?
Yeah, this is a tough one, but obviously it's got to be Kyler Murray. I mean, he goes as they go. I mean, well, they go as he goes. And coming off, he had that torn ACL, so who knows if he's really ready to play. And but it's just a bad team. So I mean, there really isn't many X factors, to talk about. He's their most dynamic player, but even he's regressed, over the past couple of seasons, and even before he got hurt, I think they were 4-8, one of the worst passing offenses in the league. So they've got a lot to work on, to improve. It's going to be a rough season for them, but if they want to have any chance at success, Kyler Murray's going to have to tap back into that specialness that he had a couple seasons ago, where he was just looking like Russell Wilson, just making plays out the pocket. There's not many weapons there, no more D Hop, so that's going to be tough for them. So he's really going to have to do everything, for them to have a good season.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see just how serious Kyler is about being a very successful quarterback. I think you touched on, he has all the talent in the world. We've seen it. For him to be of that stature, to be that fast and be able to throw the ball that well, have all that just natural talent coming back from this injury. I hope to see him really carry this team as best he can. I mean, like you said, there's not much around him, but that'll be a big step for him as a quarterback. I think seeing how he handles bouncing back from injury with a team that's not slated to be great, also with a new coach, which leads me to who my biggest X factor is for the Cardinals. It'll be Coach Jonathan Gannon. I say that I think for two reasons. I think one, it's his first head coaching job. I think how their season goes will depend on how well he can get guys just to buy in. I think this year they'll be playing for the first pick of the next draft. I think they'll have the first two picks or something like that, potentially. And I think for him it'll be big to kind of set the stage and set that culture, which is what my second reason for why I think that he's got to be the X factor. He's setting the culture right now for this team. We can't say that we expect them to be good. They got a quarterback, which is great. They got a left tackle that can block for him. And from there, you just got a lot of projects and whatever else going on the other side. And so, you got to take what you got and try to build something. If he can, I feel like whether they win 1 game or 6 games, 10 games, if he can get those guys to really buy into something, I think that'll set them up for success because they do have a big draft coming up. And they do have some young talent, but they just got to find a way to make it all fit. And I think guys have already been saying that Coach Gannon has changed, the way that they do things over there, which I think is great. And so we've seen that Eagles fans might not love him at the moment. They might not love him ever, but I think he's going to be the X factor coming up this year for the Arizona Cardinals. But I'm not mad at what you said either, my man. How about the Los Angeles Rams? What do you think? We got a lot to choose from. Not really.
Yeah, got about 3 players to choose from.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go Stafford. Obviously when he got traded from Detroit there, helped them win a Super Bowl. And then last year was just a tough season. He got hurt. Even before he got hurt, he was still struggling as a passer. I think his touchdown interception ratio was like 10-8 before he got hurt. Offensive line didn't help him out. I think he got sacked 29 times in the 9 games that he played, and he only got sacked 30 times the season prior. So the line should be a little better this year, but it's going to be a big part in him staying healthy. But if he can get right and Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp, and they can stay healthy and stay on the field, those are 2 really big impact players on both sides of the ball. That kind of connection that Stafford and Kupp had their Super Bowl run. So he's going to have to find that connection again and stay healthy for an entire season if they want to have any chance of getting back to the playoffs, let alone the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think that the Rams were just in the Super Bowl, just won the Super Bowl, and last year they were almost afterthoughts. And then they go and trade away Jalen Ramsey. So we're like, I mean, who's left? You know what I'm saying? But you touched on 3 guys. I'm gonna take a unit for the biggest X factor, and that's gonna be their secondary. I'm saying that because I feel like trading away Jalen Ramsey, you lose a big piece, of course. You just touched on the three pieces that they'll really, really need to be successful. They need their quarterback, they need Cooper Kupp to bounce back, play well, stay healthy as well as Aaron Donald. They have 3 good pieces, but can the secondary on the back end
and then nothing after that.
Exactly, and that's my point. Their secondary is led by Darian Kendrick. Yeah, they drafted Trevius Hodges-Tomlinson, and then they got Jordan Fuller back there at safety. Those are the 3 biggest names that you got, and most people don't even know who that is. So can that secondary
lost Taylor Rapp and Bobby Wagner last season too?
Yeah, they just gutted themselves, and you knew that would happen, when they said F them picks, You know what I'm saying? And they said, forget it. We just gonna go all in. They went all in. Next year, you get hit with the injury bug, things don't go as well. But you still got Sean McVay, you still got Aaron Donald, you still got Matt Stafford, who's good when he's healthy, and then you got Cooper Kupp. So that I feel like if the secondary can help him out, I should just say the defense as a whole because they don't have much over there outside of Aaron Donald. I think that'll help them be a little bit more successful. Because I think with McVay, they'll make plays. They'll be okay. But their defense can't hold up, especially in this division, where they're going to try to compete with the 49ers. And then you got the Seahawks, whose offense got crazy. Uh, we'll see. Speaking of the Seahawks, give me an X factor for the Seahawks.
I gotta go. I gotta go, Gino. They wrote him off, but he ain't right back. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see if he can do it again this year. Uh, you know, they got off to a really hot start last year, and then they kind of tailed off towards the end of the season. And it took the Detroit Lions beating the Packers the last game of the season for them to get into the playoffs. So, but they made a lot of nice moves this off season. Adding some guys on defense, solid draft. So, Gino's he's got some pieces there to work with. He's still got Metcalf and Lockett, drafted a receiver out of Ohio State. So, I mean, they've got some weapons there for him. And, it's just up to him to, keep that energy that he had last season and, see how far he can take this team this year. But if he plays well, they've got enough around him to make a solid run.
Yeah, I'm right with you. I have Geno Smith. I think, he earned his money. Now he got to back that up. Can he come back and replicate that season? They've given him more weapons. The defense is better. They have a tough out within their division, but they have more than enough to make a playoff push and maybe make some noise in the playoffs if Geno Smith can continue to build off of what he did last year. It's good to see Geno Smith. The kid in me that grew up watching West Virginia Geno and Tavon Austin and all those guys. It was exciting to see Geno, kind of make a little comeback. So hopefully he can continue to do that this upcoming season. So we talked about our X factors. So with that, give me a team that'll surprise us this year out of this division, out of NFC West. What team will you say that will surprise us this year?
I mean, won't be much of a surprise, but like I said, I think the Seahawks should be pretty good this year. As long as I'm putting my faith in Geno for back to back good years. So, but if he can come through, I mean that defense, Bobby Wagner coming back, he's still got a lot left in him. Secondary, they've got a lot of talent in that secondary. Pete Carroll's raved about how excited he is to see that unit for his team this season. So, they got a lot, and Geno was one of the best deep ball throwers last year. Metcalf and Lockett, like we said, he's got some good weapons. So, I think the Seahawks could surprise some people if Geno can, build off of last season.
Yeah, I'm right with you on the Seahawks. They'll surprise us again. I think last year were a big shock. I don't think people are taking them as serious as they should. I think the Seahawks have a really, really good opportunity. Pete Carroll is coaching them. We already know that he knows how to win football games. I spoke on the defense getting better. I think they really have an opportunity to really surprise a lot of people and make a deep playoff run. And I wouldn't be surprised if they come within 2 games of winning this division even. That's just that. I mean, I some people are gonna say I'm tripping, but they already wrote them off once. So I'm not gonna bet against them again. I'd be
I mean,
crazy.
who you taking, Geno or Brock Purdy?
Geno every day of the week.
So,
So they got the best quarterback in the
if you got
division.
the better quarterback, I mean, you always got a shot.
Yeah, all right, yeah. So give me a couple impact rookies that you see for the division. We won't go team by team this time. If you see 1 or 2 guys that you really, really like, let me know who that is.
Yeah, Rams drafted a guard out of TCU. Like we talked about, their offensive line was really struggling last year. So, I think if he can come in and help them out and, help Stafford, stay healthy, take a couple less hits, I think that would be nice. And then, obviously like I said, the Seahawks drafted what was his name? The rookie receiver
And
out
Jigba.
of Ohio State. Yep, him.
Jackson Smith and Jigba. Yep.
Him coming in as your third receiver. That's just crazy, to
Yeah.
get the best receiver in the draft. And they had a great draft, obviously, with the fifth pick, drafting Witherspoon. Secondary's got a lot of talent. So they've got a pretty solid rookie class. So I'm excited to see them this year.
Yeah, you gave us two good names. I like that. I'm gonna give you two lesser names, maybe. One, I'm gonna say that the Niners, they drafted Jake Moody out of the University of Michigan. A great kicker, one of the best kickers that college football has seen. He ironically missed his first attempt of his career in the preseason game the other day, but he's known for being very, very accurate, very successful kicker at Michigan. I'm a Michigan guy, so I got to support my boy Jake Moody. And then I'm gonna give you another name for the Cardinals. I just talked about them. They're not as good, and they won't make a lot of noise. But RVA kid, Richmond, Virginia, as you all know, is my hometown. Keitrell Clark, out of Manchester High School, went on to play at Liberty. Transferred to Louisville, got drafted this year in the 6th round by the Arizona Cardinals, and he has a very good. He has a high inside track to this. They say the slot corner position. The nickel this year, the team's already kind of thin at corner, so I think that's a lower name that you might not know now, but I think he will definitely have a high impact as we progress into the season. So don't sleep on Keitrell Clark, man, or Jake Moody. You can say your jokes, do whatever you got to do with him, but Jake Moody, I'm telling you. All right. So we talked a little about the NFC West. So we have another division that's wide open this year. This is one of the most exciting divisions, I
It's a
think,
fun
in
one.
football. I think that they have a lot of talent. They have a lot of young talent. The NFC North. Who do you have? You got the Lions, you got the Vikings, you got the Bears, you got the Packers. Who is the best team on paper in the NFC North?
On paper, I guess I got to go with the Lions, right? I mean, Jared Goff, say what you want about him, but last season, was pretty good for them. Uh, got a lot of talent. They added some talent on defense, added Cameron Sutton to their secondary, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Emmanuel Mosley. So, they got some good talent on there. Bears definitely added a lot this offseason with, DJ Moore, Darnell Wright, Chase Claypool. They still got, they got Foreman, still got a lot of guys there. So, got TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds. So, they added some talent too. But I think I'll go with the Lions for now. I know everyone's probably thinking the Vikings, but Vikings,
That defense is atrocious.
yeah, it's bad. Outside, all you got to look forward to is Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson, and that's about it. So there's a lot more to talk about with the Lions.
Yeah, I'm right with you. I think the Lions are the best team on paper. I think they are still a bit underrated. They're getting a lot more respect. I think Dan Campbell's done a lot of good stuff. Jared Goff has shown that he's a little bit better than we thought. I'll admit, I was not a big Jared Goff guy. I thought he was a system quarterback, but I think he's settled in really nicely with the Lions, and I think he gives them an edge as long as he takes care of the ball. They have a lot of weapons. And so I'm right with you on the Lions. So with that though, do the Lions win the division, or do you have another team in mind?
It's a tough one. Honestly, I don't know because I could see the Vikings winning the division again, but I expect a slump from them just because they won like so many close games last
Yeah,
year. It was
they
just
pulled out a
like
lot.
it was ridiculous. Like 11 of their 13 games were like 7 points or less. So like in the NFL, any given Sunday, I could flip, the season later, they might mess around and lose all those games, but
Yeah.
you still got Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson, one of the most electrifying players in the league right now. So there's still going to be a tough out. But like you said, that defense looks bad. Kirk Cousins is going to have to do a lot for them to win that division this year. But the Lions definitely got a talented group. They ended the season amazing last year. continue to build off of that. Jared Goff, like we talked about him, still threw for over 4,000 yards last year, had a 29-7 touchdown interception ratio. So, he can still get the job done. The Lions like to run the ball, so that obviously helps him. They've improved that defense, so the Lions are definitely going to be in that mix. It's a tough one, but if I had to pick today, uh, I still think Kirk Cousins
Mm,
can win this division.
okay. I was nervous because I have the Vikings too. I was like, dang, Nell, you might be
I'm
converting me
not
over. You might be
I'm not
converting.
all in on the Lions yet, but
Okay,
I
okay.
will not be surprised if they win the division. But I still got to see it to believe it.
Yeah, I'm right with you. I think the Vikings have been there. We can say whatever we want about Kirk Cousins, but to speak to your point about all those close wins, he finds a way to get it done. Maybe not in the playoffs, maybe not when it really, really counts. Uh, but he does enough. And I think that offense, you talked about Justin Jefferson. I mean, he's the best receiver in the NFL, arguably. I mean, I would say he is. Somebody might say something else. Um, but the numbers don't lie. And what you see on the field, the eye test doesn't lie. TJ Hawkinson gets another year. I think, like you said, Alexander Madison will be. He's more than capable. He's not Dalvin Cook, but he's more than capable. And then they draft Jordan Addison, who top 3 receiver coming into this year in the draft. So I mean, that offense is loaded. Like I said, the defense isn't great, but it'll be really, really hard to stop that offense, and they'll put a lot of pressure on teams just off of that alone. Um, and I think until the Lions show me, I love them. I'm rooting for them, but I got to get a division to the Vikings as well.
Yeah,
Um,
I think the Lions will be in the wild card
yeah,
mix for sure, and
yeah.
they'll definitely, like I said, I'm not going to be surprised if they end up winning the division this year.
Yeah, they sold out all their games. The fans are behind them. They got a lot of young guys as well. That I'll talk about one in particular a little bit later. But we talked about the best team on paper who wins the division as well. So do you have any sleeper teams in the NFC North? It's a lot of good teams. But who is there anybody that people are still sleeping on?
I mean, we just went on and on about the Vikings. I think they're being slept on. Uh, everyone's, a lot of I've seen people, talk about the Bears a lot. Obviously the Lions have been talked about a lot. But I think, and rightfully so, they went 13-4 last year, lost the wild card game. Um, you know, not advancing far in the playoffs, regardless of regular season. So, I get, why everyone's so down on the Vikings, but we just talking about regular season here.
Yeah,
You know, Kirk Cousins usually, gets the job done in the regular season.
yeah, and I like that. I like the direction that you went. I'm actually talking about the one team that you didn't name, which shows you sleeping on them, the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
about to go grab me a pillow right now.
I think I think that people are, as you can see, now is literally sleeping. We on the pod and he's asleep. You lose Aaron Rodgers, I understand. That's franchise altering, you know. But
And they weren't good to begin with.
we've seen the Packers do this though. They have a legend. They got a guy in the wings. Legend moves on. Guy in the wing moves up. We just saw it. Some teams just do things, right? Some teams just.
That team that you're talking about went 6-10 Rodgers first year.
I mean, that's that. If they get that this year, that'd be impressive. Some people don't even think they get that. I think Jordan Love slides in, and I think he overachieves. I think we see a much better Packers team than people are thinking. They still have Aaron Jones. They still have that defense. I don't see a world where they're just bad. I don't see them being bad. I think they will compete. I think this division is the perfect one to kind of be that low sleeper
I
because they can
wouldn't be
a couple.
surprised if they were in contention for Caleb Williams
Oh, I was
at the
gonna,
end of
I
the
was
year.
gonna, I was gonna wait for the tank for Caleb segment, but go ahead.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they was in
Wow,
that mix at the end of the season.
wow. Okay, so we're adding the Packers. So that's what our second team on the pod that we said should be tanking for Caleb. We didn't say the Bucks, so don't even think about that one. We didn't say
I think I said the Bucks.
we said Washington had to be Condo round.
Maybe
They
I
should.
don't remember. We should write
So
this
we
stuff
got
down.
so we got the Packers. Okay, Jordan Love gets one and done. Okay, we'll see.
It's a
I
big year
think
for him
I mean, yeah, he
because
got
his replacement could be waiting if he
it.
don't win at least 5 games, 4 or 5 games.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I'll let you have that. So, what quarterback do you trust most? Then we talked about Jordan Love. We talked about Kirk Cousins. We talked about Jared Goff. We didn't touch on Justin Fields. I know Walt is going to be sick. It took us this long. So, all four of those guys, those are the bona fide starters for these four teams. Which quarterback do you trust the most?
I mean, why would not trust Kirk Cousins? You feel me? He's last 3 years he's thrown for over 4,000 yards. 29 plus passing touchdowns. So I mean, like I said, he's definitely sometimes the lights get too bright for him, but on more occasions than not, he delivers in the regular season. So I trust that. And like I said, Justin Fields, I'm rooting for him. Definitely was watching some highlights the other day, and I mean that dude is just special when it comes to getting out the pocket and making plays. I'm excited to see him this year with some actual talent around him on the outside. So we'll see, but it remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Still a lot of improvement you got to see from him as a pocket passer. Jared Goff, like I said, he's probably second on that list, but uh, you know, he was traded from the Rams for a reason. They felt like they couldn't get it done with him. Hasn't been able to, taste postseason or make any postseason appearances with the Lions since he's been there. But like I said, his numbers last year were still terrific. Him and Kirk Cousins are pretty much the same tier quarterback if they have enough talent around them, and we've seen that with Golf in those Rams years. They were able to win the division and get into the postseason and get far in the playoffs. But if you got enough talent around those two, they're pretty much the same tier quarterback. They can get you only so far.
Yeah, I'm with you. I had them. I had Kirk and then Goff. I'm really excited to see what Justin Fields does. That's crazy coming from me. For an Ohio State guy, we know how Ohio State quarterbacks typically pan out in the NFL. I won't get into all of that today. I won't come at the Ohio State fans. I know they're still recovering from the Michigan loss. So I mean, I'll say I'm a fan of Justin Fields. I hope that him and Jordan Love both, um, surprise everybody and make that next step, make that leap into being great. But I think Goff and Kirk are kind of, I would say 1A and 1B. I'd probably put Kirk 1A. I'll give Goff 1B just because I mean Kirk's never done anything in the playoffs. Goff has made it to a Super Bowl, but you're always like, that was all right. Like you don't hate
Yeah.
him. You're not really just like he's the best thing ever. So if we gotta go tiers, I'm gonna go with Kurt Goff, then I'll go with Fields, and then Love, of course, will be last for me. So those are we kind of have a little question mark or whatever about the quarterbacks and the teams. So let's look at some X factors. We're gonna start with the Chicago Bears. Give me an X factor for the Bears.
Gotta be Justin Fields. I mean, we talked about he's finally got the talent around him. They beefed up that offensive line. You added DJ Moore. You got Mooney. You got Claypool.
Yeah.
Cole Kmet had a nice, end of the season last year with them. So you got some weapons around him. So it's all up to him, and to really see the Bears, put their trust in him this season. Gave him some talent finally, and we'll see what he does with that this year.
Yeah.
They should be a lot better than 3-14.
Definitely, yeah. It's easily filled. Anybody that says otherwise is just trying too hard. Um, for all the reasons that you said. I mean, we know that he has talent. We've seen him light up the game with his legs in the NFL. He says he's the best runner in the league at quarterback. But like you
Had
said,
1,100 yards to prove it last year.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm not a if he with what he can do on the ground, like you said, if he can make even a little bit of a jump when it comes to his pocket presence, I mean, he's putting himself, up. We're talking about tiers. He's moving on up. And can have I think Jalen Hurt-esque impact for the Chicago Bears. I know that's what Bears fans are hoping for. I think Darnell Mooney, Claypool, DJ Moore, all those guys, they give him a lot to work with. I mean, it it'll be hard to see him not succeed. So I really hope for everybody's sake that he does. I think he's a game manager or a game record rather. He's not his game manager in the sense of that it's not he's just a runner. He's not just a runner. He can throw the ball around. He has plenty of weapons now. And I think their defense, like you mentioned earlier, has gotten a little bit better. I mean, the division's wide open. So if Justin Fields can really take that next step, I mean, we're gonna have a really close race. Uh let's look at the Detroit Lions. We talked a lot about the Lions. Who's your X factor for this talented roster?
Yeah, I'm gonna say the entire secondary. I'm gonna go with the unit. I think they've got to come to play this year. Offensively, they were pretty good last year. They were fifth in points scored, so I'd say they were pretty great at putting points on the board. But they were 28th in points allowed. So the secondary, gave up a lot of big plays last year, and hopefully, with the additions that we talked about earlier, C.J. Gardner, Cameron Sutton, hopefully that unit should be a lot better, and in turn, that defense should be a lot better. And if they can still put points up at that rate, they'll be right in the mix to win the NFC North.
Yeah, and I'm gonna stay on the defensive side of the ball with you. I'm gonna go with another Michigan guy, Aiden Hutchinson. I think that we talked about the trenches, how much those guys matter to the game. We talked about you're talking about the secondary. If they can get an elite level of play consistently from Aiden Hutchinson, if he can move himself into the level of elite pass rushers with the Bosa's and the Aaron Donalds and all those guys, I think that changes this team. That if you get one of those guys, and we saw, last year where he had 52 tackles, he had 9.5 sacks, even had 3 interceptions. I mean, he lit it up to be a rookie. So, if he can take that next step, I think that he definitely changes this team, and that'll help that secondary that you just talked about. If you have a guy that the offensive line and the quarterback have to worry about so consistently playing and play out. So we're gonna look at the Green Bay Packers. I feel like I know where you're going with this one, but give me an X factor for the Packers.
Gotta be Jordan Love, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you talked about him taking over Aaron Rodgers. He's only had 83 pass attempts in his career, only a 79 QB rating in those games. So not great, but it's a very small sample size. So we'll see what he does this year. They're going to need him. They've got Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, so they've got a solid run game. Watson, who broke onto the scene towards the end of last year. Dobbs, another rookie that they had last year. So hopefully those guys come in and developed from last season. So he's got some weapons to throw to, and we'll see what he's got. But if they want to do anything, obviously they're going to have good quarterback play, because that's how Green Bay's been built the last couple of years. Their quarterback gets them to the playoffs. So we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, I touched on it a little bit earlier when I spoke on Jordan Love. He's also my X factor. It's one of those we just got to see moments. We've waited for this. We've had people that have lobbied for him, people that have said he's not any good. It's put up or shut up time now, and so we'll see exactly who Jordan Love is. If the Packers are going to be anything, if they're going to stay relevant, they're going to is their next big quarterback Jordan Love? Did they get it right another time through the draft with the legend successor thing? So I think we right on the same page with that. And then lastly, we had the Minnesota Vikings. Who is your X factor for the Vikings?
My X factor is Brian Flores. Obviously, we talked about how bad that defense is. So he's coming in, and he said he's going to be aggressive, and we'll see how that plays out for them. But Kirk Cousins is going to most likely have to win a lot of shootouts this year.
Yeah.
But if he can come in and change the culture, kind of like Dan Quinn in Dallas, the year before the Cow, obviously we had Micah Parsons coming in, so that helped out. But the year before, we had like the 28th ranked defense. I didn't think it was possible to come in and flip that over in one season. But I think Dan Quinn was a big part in that. So if Flores can come in and kind of change that defensive culture, that'll definitely help out the Vikings as a team and winning the division again.
Yeah, and I'm not mad at that. I have a hard time going away from Kirk Cousins. I think he has to be the X
I had
factor.
him written down first, but I was like,
Yeah,
let me switch it up.
yeah, switch it up, switch it up. I feel you. I figured one of us would definitely go that route.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, is Kirk Cousins elite? I mean, that's the question. Like, can he take that next step, or is he just gonna always be? I mean, you know what he'll give you. It's like that'll keep him employed, but when will he take the next step? He's got a lot of momentum from his Netflix debut. A lot of people like Kirk Cousins a lot more now. So he'll definitely have some more people in his corner. It'll definitely be a lot more eyes on him as well, though. We already talked about all the weapons that he has on offense, and you just said it. They're gonna have to win a lot of shootouts. So, I mean, we'll see. It's week one, plays against my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so we'll see week one what that offense can do. And I'm excited for the Vikings. I think Kirk Cousins. I want Kirk Cousins to take that next step. I don't necessarily believe he will, but he's my X factor for that reason. I feel like you got to roll with him. So we might as well show him some love. Uh, do you have any rookie impact players in this division?
Yeah, I think we talked about the receiver out of Minnesota, Jordan
Mhm.
Addison. They need another guy next to Justin Jefferson. You can take some attention off of him, and that gives Justin Jefferson some more opportunity. And obviously, he's going to have his chances with Jefferson being double and triple covered.
Yeah,
So I think if Kirk can have another weapon to throw to, that'll be huge for him. And then Darnell Wright for Chicago. Part of the reason that Justin Fields had all those rushing yards was he had to run for his life almost every play. So hopefully he can come in and have an impact, making that offensive line better and protecting Justin Fields, and we can see what he has inside the pocket and he doesn't have to run for his life every play.
yeah. Uh, I like that. I like that. I have a hard time leaving the Lions boys off our little roster here of impact rookies. I think Jameer Gibbs as well as Brian Branch will both be two really, really high impact rookies for obvious reasons. Jameer Gibbs adds another dimension to that offense. We're all excited for it. I mean, they drafted him very early, surprised a lot of folks, but they believe in him. So I mean, it's no question of how talented he is. I think it was more like, wow, we just didn't expect that early. Uh, but I think the Lions know what they have, and I'm expecting them to utilize him early and often. And then Brian Branch, you talked about that secondary. I mean, he's a guy that he was a first rounder. I mean, I thought he was
Yeah.
gonna be. I wanted him at 19 for the Bucks, and he there's a guy that falls to the second round, and the Lions snag him, and he had a great draft. And I think that's another guy that changes that entire defensive outlook. He's a dog. I'll never ever go against a Bama corner safety. I mean, they know how to play football. They know how to be NFL pros. So I'll add them to our list as well. We didn't touch on it in the first segment, so we're gonna do them together. Do you have any Super Bowl contenders out of the NFC West group and the NFC North? And if so, who?
Yeah, well, obviously 49ers, if all things go well, everyone's healthy, that team should definitely contend for the Super Bowl. The NFC is so wide open. Uh, you know, anything can happen where one of these teams, finds themselves in the NFC Championship. But for right now, I think we'll just play it safe, and I think just the 49ers out of this group.
Yeah, I'm right with you. I love the NFC North teams, but I don't think anybody's a Super Bowl contender. Um, I love we talked really well about the Seahawks, but are they a contender to win a Super Bowl? Nah. Um, but I think all around out of these two divisions, there's going to definitely be some exciting football. And we've already talked about the 49ers. So we've looked at the contenders. Are any teams you talked a little bit about the one team that should be tanking in the Packers? Is there another team that should be tanking for Caleb Williams between the NFC West and the NFC North?
Not really. I mean, the Cardinals, they'll just be there by default. Whether they still whether they'll still have faith in Kyler Murray, by the end of the season, we'll see. But they're definitely going to be in the mix for the first overall pick. So
Yeah.
we'll see what Jordan Love gets into. It could be just 6, 5 to 7 win season, or if it gets bad, I wouldn't be
Okay.
surprised if it's in that 3-4 range.
And hey, I hope the Packers don't let me down. All right. Nell does not believe. Nell say he's gonna go get his pillow. So I need y'all to back
Yeah,
me up
man, I'm
on this
going to
one.
sleep.
He's sleeping. But I think the Packers, I think they're gonna do what they do. To move out of this, to close it out, we're gonna look at Nelly's segment, the over-under segment. Nelly, I want you to take me
Yeah.
through the NFC West. Then we'll finish off with NFC North to wrap this thing up.
All right, let's start with the 49ers. We got over under 10.5 at 13 last year.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with over. I think
Yeah,
uh
that's an easy one.
yeah, I think that's a easy 11 win season for them. I think they might get 13 again. They're uh they're one of my favorites to come out of the NFC, obviously. Um they got a lot to prove. They got a chip on their shoulder. They feel like they should have been in the Super Bowl. They feel like they should have won a Super Bowl. And I'm curious to see them back it up. So I think they definitely gonna come out and show out.
Yeah, that's an easy over. We talked about how much talent they got around whoever is going to start at quarterback. It's usually if a team's got this many a question mark at quarterback like this, you automatically don't think of them as a contender, but they've just got so much talent on both
Yeah.
sides of the ball, and great coaching. Definitely should win, easily 11 to 12 games this year.
Mhm.
All right, if we go Seahawks 8.5, what you got?
Ooh, that's close. I got them on right on that 8-9 range. So that's a good line. Uh I'm gonna take them over. I think they get 9. I think that they will win enough close ones. I think, I don't see them being in any games where it's just like, even if they're not the favorite, I still think they're gonna give everybody a battle. I think they're very well coached. I think they got a lot better. Um, and they already were good. They already were good last year, and we didn't expect that, so they got some guys on the defensive end, Tariq Woolen, Kobe Bryant, trying to prove that they are legitimate corners in this league. A lot of people like them, but they got slept on a little bit. I would say this summer got a little disrespected. In the cornerback rankings and all that went down on Twitter this summer. And I think Gino's going to keep backing it up. I think Gino's always been pretty steady of a quarterback. He didn't have the wow that we expected from him coming from college, but he has the guys around him to make plays. He has the guys around him to win a lot of games and make his job really easy. So I think they definitely hit the over this year.
I think they won 9 games last year. Eked out, squeaked out that last playoff spot, but like we talked about, they had a great offseason, a really good draft. So that team's a lot better. They should win. I expect them to win like 9 or 10 games. So yeah, I definitely gonna hammer the over on that one. Let's see what the Rams looking like. 6.5.
I might go under. I think I'm gonna take the under.
Whew.
I think I'm gonna take the under. I think their dynasty is over. I'm not bitter anymore. It might sound like it. I'm not bitter anymore. I think Aaron Donald. I mean, we already know, like, a couple years. I think it was like last year he was talking about maybe retiring. Sean McVay was talking about maybe retiring. Matt Stafford is one more injury away from retiring. I think Cooper Kupp is banged up right now. I just think, like, that's one of those teams, man. It's like they good, like they can ball. Like, if they're all healthy, they'll they'll probably get 5 easy, right? But how motivated are they? Are they in like they're rebuilding? That defense is really young. I can just see Aaron Donald now, just like, yo, what are y'all doing? I'm like, what are y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? And I'm afraid to say I just don't think Matt Stafford is gonna be healthy. And I don't see him playing a whole year. I don't. I think they get the under. I think they underachieve and they blow the thing up completely. Truly.
And I was thinking about taking the over at first, but you kind of convinced me otherwise.
Come on. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take the under too. I mean,
Sure.
goddamn, you just sold me on it.
Hey.
Can I trust Stafford to stay healthy? I mean, even if he does,
Right.
it's just him, Cup, and Aaron Donald.
Yeah. Like,
Not much on that defense. Is the offensive line gonna hold up? If Stafford's running for his life like he was last year,
won't be
like you
doing that
said,
for
he might
long.
not last 17 games.
Yeah.
And if he don't last 17 games, they definitely don't got a shot
That's a big
to win
man.
more than 6 games. So yeah, I'll take the under on that one.
Me and they'll agree. Come on
All
now.
right, Arizona Cardinals. I'm kind of
But don't even tell me the number.
got this 4.5.
No.
Yeah, no shot.
You
I'll
didn't
be
even
surprised if they win 3 games.
you could have said 2.5. I would have said under. I won't, man. Look. Greg Dortch grew up with him, slot receiver over there in Arizona. He killed my Bucks last year. Really proud of him and what he's doing over there in the Cardinals. But this isn't a slight to you, my boy. I just don't see the team overall winning over 4 this year. I think y'all in a good position to really make a big push after next season, depending on how the draft kind of falls with some pieces and maybe free agency. But this year just not the year, man. It's just not the year for the Cardinals. It's not the right time.
I might go put a bet in on that right now. That might be the easy. That might be the easiest under that we've seen. All right, so where we gonna go next? The NFC North.
Yes, sir.
All right, Detroit 9.5.
All of these are gonna be tough, man. Nine and
Yeah,
a half. I think I can see a lot of these teams at 9, 8, 9, maybe 10. It's hard to say the Lions winning over 9 games ever. Like, what the
being
world?
that confident
When
to
the
take
last
it,
time they did that?
like
Uh
2012, 2013, something like that.
I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna give them the over. I'm gonna give them the over. I think they can squeeze out 10. They got a lot over there. We talked so much about it today. I'm gonna trust in Jared Goff. I can't believe I'm saying that. Uh, we wish we would have had them on Hard Knocks for another a little sequel, but we didn't get them. I wish we could see him, so I'm gonna give them the over. Take the over.
That's a tough one. 10-7 shouldn't be that hard.
It shouldn't.
They won 9 last year. That was after they started like what 1-6 or something like that.
Yeah, they got Jameer Gibbs. Jameson Williams will be back sometime. They added CJ Gardner Johnson, Brian Branch on defense, Aiden Hudson. I mean, come on, I'm selling you here. I'm selling you. Don't leave me.
Yeah, yeah,
Don't leave me by myself,
I
man.
gotta take the over. I gotta take the
You
over with
go.
that one.
You
I gotta
go.
take the over with that one, man.
Hey
All
man.
right, Minnesota 8.5, 13-4 last year.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the over. I think that's kind of disrespectful. I
Easy.
mean, the defense
You
is
sleeping on them.
yeah, I told you. I mean, it's gonna be a good year. I think that's an easy over right there. Especially if we got them winning the division, they got to get at least 11. I think they get 11. They're too talented, man. Justin Jefferson, he's too good. T.J. Hawkinson, he'll come into his own. He's coming into his own. Then you add in Jordan Addison. We're gonna give Brian Flores an opportunity to see what he does. So I think easily you gotta take the over.
Yeah, I'll take the over. Easy 9 wins. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's gonna be a battle between them and the Lions to see who wins that division. But I think both of those teams at the end of the season will be around 9 to 10 wins.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the Chicago Bears 7.5. It's a lot for a team that won
Mm.
3 games last year.
Nah, I'm gonna go under. Love Justin
Under,
Fields and boys, but I gotta go under.
yeah, I'm gonna take the under on that one too. Just not quite there yet. I mean, we'll see. They might be able to shock some people, but you know, I don't know if I don't know if 8 wins is there for them yet. And then last one we got the air. No, we got the Green Bay Packers. That should be an easy one. Over under 7.5. I think I think I'm gonna have to take the under on that one.
Under?
Yeah, 7.5 for the Packers. Come
Yeah,
on,
I'm
man.
saying that we sleeping on them. I said that we sleeping on them, but that seems like a lot. I mean, well,
They just lost one of the best quarterbacks ever.
yeah. And how many did they win last year?
8.
Yeah, I'm gonna
They
take the
really
under. I'm
ain't
gonna
do a
take the
damn
under.
thing in the offseason.
They didn't do much. I'm gonna take the under. While I do think they're gonna be a lot better than we think. You know, Nell said they might be in the Caleb sweepstakes. I don't see them
They
doing
should be
that.
right down there with the Cardinals and the
I
Commanders.
don't see him being that bad, but I'm still gonna have to take the under on them as well.
Smart man. Yeah, gotta take the under on that one.
Oh, is that everybody?
That's it. That's the
We hit
list.
them. We hit them all. Jeez. Well, all right. That'll do it for us today. I appreciate every single one of you all sticking with us. Episode 2 of the season number 3 for the 2 for 2 pod. We'll do the same thing next week. We'll look at the AFC. I'm sure a lot more will happen in the sports world for us to cover as well. So we appreciate each and every one of you for rocking with us. Nelly, you got anything to close us out?
Hey man, it's almost that time. It's almost that time, man. I'm ready for real football.
Hey,
Uh,
Nell say he don't
episode
listen.
2 just means we got 2 more episodes before
Hey,
real.
2 more 2 for 2 episodes until the real thing. It's like counting sleeps. Just count episodes at this point. Two more pods, and then the
And then the
real
fun
thing.
begins.
And I can't wait for y'all to see how Nell gonna act when we get to that point. So the
First episode after week 1. Just wait. We'll be
Nell
acting unusual.
Nell's gonna be acting a whole fool. But as always, like I said, I'm gonna wrap it up again. Appreciate you all for being with us. Thank you for listening. Season 3, episode 2, 2 for 2. We out.